The scene looked a little like a set from a Western movie. I'd have placed it in the 1700s or so. Evidently then it was here, in this place and time frame, that he was facing an aspect of his created self that he had clung to and agreed with, but been unconscious of since this particular lifetime. None of the individuals could see him or the guide, as the guide led the man to a large barn where a kind of stage show was going on. The guide would gesture that the man be seated, and he would do so among a large number of others that sat in rickety chairs in the audience before a basic stage area. Taking to the stage now was this very man, whose tapline removal experience this was, but it was him from this prior lifetime, and he was performing a stage act or other. The man would recognize this stage show individual as himself, because the guide had ensured that this previous incarnation of him looked exactly the same as he did now. This, of course, would not be so, or very unlikely, but had the guide not done this, had not made this alteration to the man's previous self's appearance, then the man may not have realized it was him. As the man watched himself perform, he began to grow older as he sat in the audience watching, and then older still. He began to mutate, become malformed, and consequently became a kind of bloated, mutated monster, half animal, half man, just as well. No one could see him here. It was as though he had agreed to be shown some attachment or agreement that had been decided upon in this prior lifetime, and although a seemingly innocent enough tapline agreement, a kind of show or other that he was a part of, evidently it had had severe ramifications. Every agreement we make, everything we hold to, that which we cling to, resigns us to remaining in the created, limited, personal self-reality of it, regardless of what it is. A single idea can hold us in creation for eternity. For the want to maintain a creation idea must have us the effects of it, and we experience it indefinitely until we decide not to. We are only in creation overall as long as we wish to experience the effects of the personal self, and we decide the nature of our creational reality bubbles. Some ideas are more abrasive than others, though anything that doesn't make sense with the whole of life, and your real awareness, and supports that, is in essence a distortion. But here it was quite apparent that this man had begun some kind of acting career right here at this very moment, in this past lifetime, perhaps his first ever show in creation, and that this was something he would decide upon and maintain, and so it's then very likely that subsequent lifetimes would follow in this decided direction, that of being some kind of actor on a stage, the thrill-seeking personal self-sensation of fame and fortune, and I would surmise this man to be very likely an actor or performance artist of a kind, wherever he is currently featuring on Earth at this time. And of course, we know how distorted and corrupt is the film industry, an engine for subliminal programming on behalf of the dark forces. I would suggest then this man was witnessing the first moment he decided to be an actor. The agreement to the idea was established, the emotional attachment to it forged, the tapline created, and the real side reveals everything. It reveals us as the culmination of what we are deciding moment to moment. People may be destined to become reptilian through their poor life choices in a future lifetime, but the real side would show them as reptilians now, as everything is, and we are portrayed as we really are now, with what we have decided, our intent, etc., on the real side of life. This man, as he watched the inception of his tapline, was transformed into the body type effect of his decision in this moment. He was as distorted as this particular idea had resulted in, as the agreement idea would continue to compound, grow hair, become ugly, and take him through progressively more dire circumstances, in keeping with one who operates among or on behalf of the controllers, the subliminal programming presenters, through the various entertainment outlets of the modern day. And then a few individuals would approach this mutated man. They not only could perceive his presence, but presented themselves as individuals that he had forged emotional attachments with in this same past lifetime. Again, emotional attachments will hold us to creation, just as agreement to any idea will. For what we attach to, we agree with. We must be the effects of and experience. What emotional attachment is then is agreement to the idea that the created vehicle of an individual represents. The idea would be to engage being to being, real awareness to real awareness, that which operates the 5 bodies, and not the bodies themselves, which are just created ideas, with their created identities. And with emotional attachment, with agreement to the created ideas that the body vehicles are, we are contracted then to participate in the same experience as the individuals we forge these emotional bonds with again in future lifetimes, and maybe forever. It is emotional attachments that are the main taplines that bring us back into a creation endlessly, all stemming from the want to satiate the needs of the emotional vehicle, the sensation body, and then we attach other ideas to the situations, such as love, etc. There is, of course, no real love in creation. It's just an idea. We have labelled the sensations we stimulate through our attachments and interactions with created ideas that are the body vehicles operated by other beings of real light. And so, these individuals came to this distorted, mutated man now, but it was as though they were operating from their real awarenesses, and not from a personal self-perspective, for they explained who they were, identified themselves as emotional attachments forged in this prior lifetime, and they agreed to release this man from their attachment to him. And this man, realizing and recognizing what was going on, perhaps now operating more so from his real awareness also, agreed to release the attachment that tapline bound him to these people also. It was as though this man had not only decided the release of an idea, intent, and focus that had him on an acting trajectory that would take him through lifetimes into progressively more distorted circumstances, but he also had decided the release of the emotional attachment to key individuals forged in this same previous lifetime. Who knows, maybe these individuals had continued to feature in all the lifetimes from then to now, and perhaps have been fellow actors and actresses, all participating in the distortion and convoluting it more so. For now, as all this was released, the mutation began to reverse. Then he was an old man again, and that also went into reverse, until he was once again the age and appearance that he currently is. here the experience would end. And so I was witness to the process of awareness of another individual, a verification then of the necessity of removing taplines, of facing the personal self, and all of creation, if one should decide to want to ultimately stand real with the true reality and the real guides, as the free beings of real light they actually are. Free beings of light that operate these 5 bodies, and go through all the drama and process of creation, to reach a point where the want to become more aware and recognize the is decided upon, and a process that would not be possible were it not for the real universal guides, who are always on hand to assist those who are willing to take the risk, to step into the unknown, and be and see more than they have so far limited themselves to, and eventually assume positions in the real universes where they are beyond all restrictions and authorities. This planet Earth needs a lot of help from all of us right now. Dean Val of NUUU, Nations United, UNUversal, UNUversity, is contacting people around this world every day to share the importance of the all-natural environment supporting all of us. Dean Val and Dwayne Lee Hepner.org 501c3 have created CAN, Community Action Network, to help all communities become aware of how to be self-sufficient with permaculture and food and rainforests. We are always looking for real people to step up who want to learn what life on this earth is all about. We will be leasing large portions of land to create something wonderful for all communities everywhere. Contact Val Vittles on Skype and Facebook, and through the phone number and the website DwayneTheGreatWriter.net provided in the links, to get involved with what we all can do now. The NUUU, Nations United, UNUversal, UNUversity, is dedicated to supporting and providing a real purpose and real awareness with the all-natural environment supporting all of us. First comes this earth with food and rainforests, and to protect what is still here. For those who have the awareness to see what is actually taking place here, with all the natural devastation, which is also purposely planned by world controllers, you now have a real opportunity to step up and do something with those who also care about your planet Earth. Dwayne Lee Hepner has created the NUUU, Nations United Universal UNUversity, which completely entails the all-natural environment everywhere, and a real education that has real value, and that far surpasses any commonly created indoctrinating educational system that does not focus on what sustains all of us naturally. Real survival makes sense with everything here that is self-sustaining.